Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com. Welcome to the podcast. This is your host, Seth Greene. Today, I've got the good fortune to be interviewing Troy Laing, founder of Culture OC. We're going to talk about biohacking, human performance optimization, recovery technologies, and of course, building a business. Troy, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on, Seth. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Pleasure's ours. So let's go back in time. I believe you began your journey in fitness at age 15 in Australia. Can you kind of give us the journey from there to now?
Yeah, so at 15, that was when I first walked into a gym or a fitness facility. And I think at that stage, I was really inspired, being born in the 80s, by the period of action heroes, Stallone, Arnold, Van Damme. So early days was more physical activity, how I wanted to look. But it's been the pillar of my life in regards to, I have been through stages of substance abuse, addiction, alcoholism. But the one thing that I was grounded in was physical activity that would help me get through certain struggles and stages of my life. That led into what you brought up earlier of the world of biohacking, but it was a lifetime of trial and error, trying different things, becoming more educated in biology, optimizing cellular function, and now in this day and age, being able to use technologies to really optimize how we can hack into our biology, which is biohacking, to get the best and highest performance from our cells, from our body, and really connecting that to a really grounded mindset. We do a lot of work with breathwork and meditation. Our brain is what is sending and receiving signals for healing the body, for managing stress. So we need to be in the right brainwave activity and the right thought process to really optimize how our body physically responds and our biological response to external inputs such as LED light therapy, oxygen therapy, peptides, and so forth.
That is phenomenal. I'm sure the longer version of your story should probably be in a book somewhere if it isn't already. How did that experience? I mean, you mentioned some significant challenges. How did that kind of shape your approach to wellness, recovery, and then ultimately founding Culture OC?
Yeah, so I grew up with, everyone has some form of story that affected their childhood to who they are as an adult or who they become as an adult. And I grew up in an environment with a split family, alcoholic parents, a lot of domestic verbal abuse, and that's what led me into my own evolution of using substances and my own addiction phases. But at the age of 30, and I believe that for men, they have this cycle of decade generations where they start to evolve, and you get to a point where you start to question your choices and decisions and what you really want from life. And at the age of 30, 31, I was not going down a good path. Now, I was high functioning and I had held down a good job and I earned good money, but my recreational activities didn't really hold value to the life I wanted of having a family, a wife, children, and really having a quality of life and future that I desired. So I really made a huge shift and change. I moved my life from the east coast of Australia in Sydney to the west coast, which is the equivalent from moving from LA to New York. Oh, sorry, from the opposite way, from New York to LA. And then I started a whole new life around diving into childhood psychology, early brain development, because I wanted to understand why I made the decisions I made, why I was self-sabotaging, And then that started to unlock a deeper connection to physical movement. And that's where I got into therapies like float therapy or sensory deprivation, breath work, cold water therapy, or cold plunging. And it just kept evolving into different things such as sauning and detoxing, LED light stimulation, and then holistic type things like grounding, being connected to nature, all these little aspects that we can add into biohacking that fills the whole circle of what it is to be a biohacker. Supplementation, peptides, external influences through energy and different things that we can use. And I just really dived deep into it because I was fascinated with it. I loved it. It changed my life, and that's where I knew that this was my path to go down and share my knowledge, my story, to help other people make a change and make a difference in their own life.
Awesome. That is beautiful. Tell us a little bit about Culture OC.
So Culture OC is a biohacking, performance, and recovery center. We use technologies such as LED light stimulation. Most people would know that as red light therapy. We have a hyperbaric oxygen chamber, so a chamber that you're being pressurized in, flooded with oxygen. Cold plunging, that we actually teach practices. So we teach a cold plunge breathwork practice. We're teaching fight or flight control mechanisms. So yes, when you get into a cold plunge, you go into shock, you go into controlled state of stress. But we use our breath to control our heart rate to bring our emotional fight or flight control down. We have infrared saunas, acupuncturists, body workers, and we really work to develop someone's brain wave activity in regards to where they're at. We work with people going through cancer, athletic performance, and people are just more interested in their own health and wellness these days. So we design protocols around using combined therapies that boost and synergistically boost the effects of each other to get a much better result, faster healing time, better cellular function, inflammation reduction, where we use all these different technologies to boost the cells and optimize how they perform.
That is awesome. You are speaking my language. I have the cold plunge. I have the sauna. I have done hyperbaric. I don't own a hyperbaric chamber, but I've done it. There is a ton of stuff that, I am in love with as well. Is there one modality you find has the most like aha moment or the aha moment impact for people who are like new to this world?
There certainly is. For me, I'm a cold plunge enthusiast. Breath work and cold plunging literally changed my life. And I'll tell you, your listeners, why. Now, it's not the most profound, impactful thing on a cellular level compared to red light therapy. We have a medical grade LED bed, the light stim bed. We have a medical grade oxygen chamber. These technologies are incredible for reducing inflammation and faster recovery and a whole lot of things, but they don't push you outside your comfort zone. When you're getting into a cold plunge, the physiological benefits, most of us know, inflammation reduction, release of cold shock proteins, you're boosting your immune system if you don't have a compromised immune system. But no one wants to get in a cold plunge. I don't know anyone that wants to get in freezing cold water. And when you do something inherently that you don't want to do, like getting into a cold plunge, you start to rewire your brain in regards to how you manage stress and challenges and confrontation. So for me, it's the biggest impactful thing because you are rewiring your brain. So you're strengthening the brain. You're getting a huge amount of physical benefits. But when you get out of a cold plunge and your body starts to warm up, your body naturally releases a huge amount of dopamine and you feel euphoric. Once there's a sense of achievement, pushing yourself to do something you don't want to do. And then a chemical release in the body actually makes you feel euphoric, like you've done something incredible. So, and it's a short period of time. We're talking 3 to 6 minutes to get this feeling rather than being on a LED light bed for 40 minutes or a hyperbaric oxygen chamber for 60 to 90 minutes. 3 minutes of your life, pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, how you feel afterwards, it becomes addictive.
Yeah, absolutely. You emphasize presence and resilience rather than like the crash and burn performance culture. How do you help clients reconcile like the tension between, the hustle and grind culture and your theory, of real wellness and longevity?
Yeah, I've grown up like passionately listening to different people, entrepreneurs, people who have made a huge impact in the world. And you get some of these hardcore people who's like, no balance, just push and drive and push yourself to the limit. but everyone's different, and especially on a biological level. Like I don't function well if I don't find time to train like physically train, if I don't get the right amount of sleep I need, if I don't do something that gets me outside of just the day-to-day grind. So there has to be some level of balance that works for you, because otherwise you just go into some burnout mode where you don't, if you're not passionate about the work you do, it's only a matter of time before you give up or you start to become diseased, because your body is having a chemical reaction and response to an environment that is filled with stress. It's filled with like no ambition to look for something in the future. So for me, I'm very proactive on having balance. I want to spend time with my kids. I want to be present with my wife. I want to be a good leader in my community and make sure that my business is functioning at a high level. But where that all comes from is me. It's that self-love. You have to really look after who you are and feel good within your body, physically and mentally, because otherwise everything else around you will be affected. And even if you are successful and you ignore everything else, I guarantee that person of success, if they took at least several hours out of the week to just work on themselves and be more fulfilled within themselves, even if they're successful, everything would blow up and be even more successful than where they're at right now.
You literally moved across the world, built a life in a new country, grew a business. I think you're a father of four. How do you
Yep.
stay grounded and maintain balance?
Actually, my big thing is I'm an early morning person. So, and I love mixed martial arts. I love being pushed out of my comfort zone. So, my schedule from Monday to Friday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm up at 4 a.m. I'm in my cold plunge at home. I'm at the gym at 5 a.m. training with good buddies and pushing myself outside the comfort zone. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm up at 5 in the cold plunge, 6 a.m. jiu-jitsu class, and that keeps me grounded. It gives me a few things. I'm getting up early before anyone else. I'm pushing myself outside my comfort zone to make myself feel uncomfortable in the cold plunge. I'm then getting uncomfortable training some sort of martial art, but I'm in a community of guys who, you have a connection with, you share stories, you have a bit of fun and play around, and then everything is done. And I'm ready to come home and either be supportive for the kids for school, or if it's my day of opening shift, I'm ready to go to work. And I've already done all the hard things. I feel grounded, and it's about making that time for myself, and so it doesn't impact the rest of my life, so I can put that time into the other things like family and business.
I love it. What is one practice or habit that you're still working on to improve?
Time management. It's the hardest thing. The time is the currency that we tend to spend the most without understanding we can't ever get it back. And whether you've got young children or you're trying to grow a business, the weeks and the days, they just sort of roll and mold into one. So being really present in every moment. If I'm at work, I'm present with my clients or business development. If I'm at home, I'm present with my children and my wife. If I'm taking that personal time out in the gym and I'm doing my training, I'm really focused in the moment and being present in the moment. Because if you're not enjoying every moment of every day, next thing you know, 10 years have passed and you don't even know what you've accomplished or where it's all gone. So just being really present in the moment is something that I keep working on every day to really appreciate and be grateful for what I have and what I'm looking forward to in the future.
You've achieved a lot of success helping others. What's your biggest challenge now?
The biggest challenge is really growing the business out on a much larger scale, but we're very community orientated. So we don't want to get people in. You're not just another number. We're not just looking for another payday. We're a community of people that creates a community to help each other strive to be their best. And I want to grow that out on an international level without losing the essence of community-based connection in a brick and mortar business like what we do. So now is just, how do I do that? Who are the right people to work with, and not letting go of too much of my intellectual property or my branding of what I've created and not giving that away for nothing. And still, it's not a money thing or an ego thing. It's more that I know I've created something special. I know I'm on the right path of having a huge impact, and I want that to keep its essence as it continues to grow.
That's awesome. We know your time's incredibly valuable. We greatly appreciate you spending some with us. For our folks who are watching and listening and want to learn more, where is the best place for them to go learn about Culture OC and all things Troy?
So anything Culture OC. So cultureoc.com is our website, which will show you all of our services, a little bio on me. Culture OC _ as an Instagram handle. Jump onto YouTube, Culture OC. You'll see different past podcasts, educational videos. And then typing in my name, I have my own social platforms, Troy Laing, Laing, and you'll find a lot of different information and different places you can find me.
Awesome. This is then Seth Greene with Troy Laing from Culture OC. Troy, thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Seth. I just want to leave with one last note, and I really appreciate people like yourself who create these platforms. This is what is changing the world and connecting us all and giving us another outlet of information to see that there are other ways of living. So for me, it's an honor to be here, but I really want to applaud people like yourself who create these platforms to give different people an opportunity to see different ways of life, different educational points of view. And this is how we really make a strong impact. So thank you very much for having me on.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you, everybody, for watching or listening. We will talk to you or see you next time.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.